recognize your name. Thanks for joining me. There won't be much talking today simply because it's just kind of head down and sew since the kids are in daycare, but we can definitely chat more once I get the top stitching done. Right now the situation is that I'm kind of doing a one for you, one for me top stitching for the small box bags. The one for you is for Ancient Arts yarn, and the one for me is actually going to go to a couple different events. Well, hopefully not. Hopefully they just go to my first event. My Juki is friggin' amazing. It depends on what you're sewing, obviously, but I have the DDL 8100E. It's an industrial, and I know there's lots of really good semi-industrial and industrial machines. The best thing I can actually suggest is if you want an industrial machine is try to find a seller in your area, like a sewing machine shop, so that you can go test them out. That's actually how I did it for this one. I actually went and tested a Juki at Mason Sewing Machine in Vancouver when I was out there for Knit City one year. Was pretty much set on knowing that I wanted the machine, but just wanted to make sure it wasn't too scary. Juki, I'm not going very fast on it right now, but when I want it to go, it will go. Kind of like putting a large engine in a truck; it'll pick up and just take off. So all these fabrics are from my trip to Japan in November, or a good part of them. The hedgehogs is definitely an older fabric, but super popular, so it got added into the mix. The really nice thing about the Juki too is it's got this dual cone system, so you can actually wind your bobbins as you're sewing instead of having to unwrap it like you would on a home machine or domestic machine and having to redo it all the time. And basically, for the bag making, for me, switching from a domestic to an industrial was such a good idea. It elevated the finish on my bags that, like, there was no way I could do it without having a industrial machine. I'd gotten to the top of my skill levels on my domestic. The only place I've seen or hit recently for problems is I've discovered I can't actually sew through 2 layers of leather, which is a very uncommon situation. And that just means I'm going to switch out the leather for webbing. And that's 5 to 6 ounce leather. So I think if I was working with a lighter leather, it wouldn't be a problem. The bobbin winder too is just cool. It's nice. Although recently I've seen that they've come out with a lot more bobbin winders you can use separately. So you set it up on the desk and wind your bobbins before you work. But I would always forget to wind my bobbins if I did it that way. And actually, I did end up using my domestic machine for 2 years before I bought this. And it's still kicking, so I'm very pleased with the quality of that machine, considering what I put it through and the production levels I put it through, because domestic machines just aren't set up to go like industrial machines. And I think the domestic machine I had, it was a Brother CE8080, and I actually have kept it as a backup machine. Yeah, so if you want to zigzag, it's honestly, I would just keep the domestic as a backup. Depending on what you're making, realistically, like I don't use zigzag stitches in my sewing because this is all straight seams basically. You interlock or you backstitch everything. I did invest in, well, or I had been looking for a serger for a while because it performs different tasks than this. And I looked into a actually semi-industrial serger on Kijiji of all places. And so for anything that I need to zigzag, that's what I use, which is only a couple items at this point. It's the cake cozies and a drawstring bag that I introduced last fall, although I don't know if I'm going to continue making them or not. Although it's a nice, a little bit cheaper option as well. Oh, I don't know why I did that. Usually I chain piece everything together. It's okay. One of the best things I just actually added to the sewing studio is I picked up a secondhand steam press. And so these were all steam pressed yesterday. I think my iron's actually dying. But I have used that iron for, I bought it back in 2014, just after I got married. So it's been going for 9 years, which, all things considered, it's pretty good because that is something I use regularly. Anyway, another bag maker actually suggested a steam press to me last year. She said that it works really well for her business, and so I've been on the lookout for it, and I won't be looking back after this. Not that I really needed it before this, but some of my bags are starting to require fusible interfacing, and so the steam press is going to be super useful for that. It already is, actually. It only takes it about 10 seconds to actually press the interfacing on, which is so much better, and it's so much better set too, compared to what I would do with my actual iron before. So I'm gonna try. I'm going back to Japan in May, so I'm gonna try it for the actual yardages when I get home and see if I actually even need an iron anymore. I'll keep the current one as a backup, obviously, but because it's still nice to have the backups just in case something goes wrong. It's a single confidence. Is that a different sewing machine or is that a steam press? Sorry. So this is the bobbin winder that I'm doing right now. I need my empty bobbin. Comes down the second one, comes through the tension wheel, and then it actually goes in right there. Well, the only thing is that I do need to do some TLC on this machine because last summer the cats got in and got thread tangled up into the oil gasket. I haven't been able to get into it quite yet to fish out all the rest of the thread, apparently. Yeah, that's fair. These things take up a lot of room. So the table on the Juki is that for this industrial is about 48 inches total. This is a yardstick right here. And then there's the additional, yeah, it's probably about 48 inches total. With, I don't quite know how far back and forth it is. But the serger I ended up with is only about the mouth of the Juki here up to here. And then I move it in and out when I actually need to use it. But if you already have the sewing machine for the domestic for zigzag, it's probably, like I said, just keep the domestic for that then. If you have room to store it, like in a closet or something, or I'm not 100% sure. We moved last May, which has been amazing. But, and we've got a walkout basement, which is also fantastic. I'm not going to argue that. It's we've utilized this space a lot better, but it does mean I lost a wall for storage, and B, my actual sewing studio space got cut in half. Plus, I had to condense the yarn room into the actual sewing studio space, which I know sounds like a real ordeal. Oh no, but it has meant that I've gone quite a bit more creative with how I'm actually storing my stuff. I think the biggest problem with this current basement space is the fact that it's shag carpet. We really discussed putting down laminate or vinyl flooring last year, but saved us quite a bit of time, quite a bit of money, just sticking with the shag. And honestly, the kids fell down the stairs a couple times. Well, my daughter slipped upstairs on the hardwood. Just a couple stairs, like we got a step down into our mudroom basically. And so that was the deciding factor because my husband wants to do laminate all the way to the basement, including the stairs. So that's kind of our sticking point is I'm a real klutz, so I don't want to slip on the stairs. Considering that I broke my ankle about a year and a half ago, I think this is a good decision. that's good to know. I've been looking into like a small domestic embroidery machine because I don't have room. Well, no, I have one spot that would hold like an industrial embroidery machine, but they're so expensive. I know it'd probably make its money back, but not right now. Anyway, I've been looking at the Brother, one of them, but part of this is also I just don't have time with the kids and everything like that, and it's another thing for them to potentially get into and disturb. My son likes climbing up on my desks right now, even with the chairs tilted down, so he doesn't have. I don't. He started climbing on the arms of the computer chair to get up on my desk. And so even though I have stuff up on the wall, so it's out of their little grabby hands, it isn't working too well. And that's also part of the restriction on my room here is that the kids have to be able to occupy it while I work, and they do TV daycare. So they got their little recliner set up and some toys and stuff like that. But they're out of the house and out of home daycare today, which has been a godsend. So I've got a couple of events coming up. Like I said, these are partially for wholesale for Ancient Arts yarn. And I have an event in Calgary called the Kimono Fair Market, I think. Kimono Fair Market. Something like that. It's put on by the New Japanese Canadian Association. Calgary branch, of course. And so they invited me, so I've got last minute prep to do for that one. And then the other event coming up is actually Gathering Threads in Edmonton, which will be nice. Although I don't have a full vendor booth there because my husband works a week in, week out schedule, so that's the week he's out, and kids are too young to leave with people quite yet. So they get to stay home, and I'm going to guest in the Ancient Arts yarn booth, which is good. Caroline and I have worked together quite a bit, and yeah. I'm gonna head back to Japan middle of May, just me and Caroline. We've been talking about this trip for years, and it's just time to finally do it. So if you have any requests for videos you'd like to see from there again, or more information, we're going to be there for 2 weeks, and I'll actually be able to go see some sites and stuff like that. It's going to be way better than the 4.5 days that I did in November. Backwards when you start. That's done. So that is something you can do with the Juki. If you're looking to buy a Juki, the one thing I would suggest is make sure that you get the servo motor on it. So this little control box here is how you control the speed and everything like that. without having to do like a clutch underneath and things. And you can definitely start sewing going backwards on this machine. Although with, wait, so it's a sewing machine and like an embroidery machine for letters as well? Or is the main purpose just embroidery? Oh, no. That's like the first thing you need with a sewing machine. Singers should know better too. Like, seriously. I honestly actually don't ever pretty much change the pressure on my pressure foot on this machine. Sometimes I have to change the thread tension, but mostly it's only that only happens when the kids come up and mess around with it. So, but I'm also mostly like sewing the exact same thing over and over and over again. So it's not like much changes with the fabric. Go. Apparently, I need to set up a work focus so that I stop getting Instagram notifications from outside. Ooh, the other cool thing that I'm gonna get when I'm in Japan is I'm gonna have a bunch of new charms from the woman who crafts them in Kyoto. She's got a big order in with her right now, and there'll be a bunch of brooches, there'll be a bunch of charms, or zipper pulls, however you want to use them. And she's even got some super cute new ones that she hasn't ever done for anyone else before. So that's pretty cool for us. Hmm. It seems like a bad setup then that you can't backstitch before you go forward. That's feels like a design flaw. Design element, design flaw. Mm. I can't speak highly enough of the Juki I have. Everyone that okay, the vast majority of people that I've talked to or seen comments on, like Facebook groups and bag making groups, um, they've not had a lot of trouble with their Juki, especially their industrials or the semi-industrial. I think the TL2010Q is kind of like the mid. It's not a domestic, but it's not an industrial either. I think it would qualify under the semi-industrial. But again, it does actually. I wonder if that one has zigzag, or if it's just straight stitch. I've never actually looked at it too close because I just went straight for straight stitch. But that might be an option too. Yeah, the embroidery machines really do have a lot of fancy stitches. Heck, even my domestic brother that I would originally had a bunch of quilting stitches and fancy edge stitches and all of that. It was fun, but I didn't really use them much because I wasn't quilting, obviously. So honestly, I might use them a bit more once I start making my daughter some clothing because they are cute. When she stops growing out everything in 45 seconds or less, which does seem to be happening fairly rapidly here. She's slowed down quite a bit. At least physical growth-wise. Yeah, that would be a big deal then, because if you're switching you're switching between fabrics and like different things. This is definitely a production machine. It works. I probably could stand to move my pressure foot around a bit more, but I'm self-taught, so it took me a while to even realize that that was an option, and I haven't suffered from it quite yet. So. Like I said with this one too, I'm definitely not going at its top speed. It's because it's a little bit more finicky. I have to stop at a certain point. Still kind of terrified that I'm gonna sew over my fingers even after 10 years, almost 10 years of having this machine. My goodness. Quality control inspector on my chair. Wonder if I can move the MacBook so you can see her right here. So this is our itty bitty black kitty, Dahlia. She's the reason that our first two cats got adopted. We unfortunately lost our gray gentleman last year, but we've still got her, and we've got the Norwegian forest cat, the big orange fleece. But that is one of the first times she's perched on my chair like that, so she must be cold or something. Or just wants to hang out. We've had some big changes in the last few years, and they've both done pretty good, but there's times where it's like, oh, okay, that's why. You're a little bit clingier. She doesn't get along with the kids as well, but she's always been an anxious cat. She just warmed up to my husband after about 7 years, like within the last year and a half. And mostly because I think she realized that if she didn't, she wasn't going to get any attention. Just started using zipper tape, and honestly, I feel like it's going to be such a life changer. I'm hoping it creates less waste actually, because I won't have like these massive leftovers. It's also wholesale cost, which I was getting fairly decent wholesale cost on the clothes zippers, but it's even better with the zipper tape. Although figuring out how to store this stuff in like a medium-sized production studio is something. I need less. This is in my industrial office warehouse space, and more. I am working medium size out of my basement space organization tips. But also not like a closet sewing space either. Or dining room table sewing space. Which are both valid, but it's not where I'm at anymore. It's definitely where it was. Some love. Now I could actually be using my stiletto and marking my endpoint. I guess that would be a lot better than putting my finger that close to the needle. But, just doesn't happen sometimes. It would be useful here. Editing video of myself the other day when I was cutting these wholesale orders. And I sounded absolutely terrible. I was huffing and puffing and sighing. Oh, that's what I meant to do. Oh, and honestly, I sounded third trimester pregnant again. And I'm just like, well, good thing I mute most of my clips. I sounded so frustrated with everything, though. I wasn't. But apparently, I might have just been a bit, I don't know, cutting's a bit tedious. Even if I do love it, because it's the start of everything. Oh my goodness. So much hair. It was even worse when we had the gray guy because it's like light fabrics get the black hair, dark fabrics get the orange floof hair, and then the gray guy, he just got everything in between. But thank you for joining me. I really appreciate it. I'm almost done, so it was nice having a chat with you while I sewed, and I'm hoping to do more of these on Fridays, particularly as the kids are in day home and you don't have to listen to Paw Patrol in the background while I sew. So thanks for joining me, and I hope you enjoyed. I hope I was able to clear up a few things about the machine, but you can always message me if you have questions. Instagram's the best way to do that. So good luck with your housework. That's a necessary evil, unfortunately. Hello and welcome to my second viewer. If you have any questions, please don't hesitate to put them in the comments. Right now I'm working through wholesale orders for Ancient Arts Fiber and prep for a couple of shows, one in Calgary on April 30th, the New Japanese Canadian Association Kimono fair market, and then Gathering Threads in Edmonton. I don't have a full booth there, but I'm guesting with Ancient Arts Yarn, and hopefully I can see you there. Right now I'm kind of doing a one for you, one for me situation with the bags, especially the small box bags. There's a lot of repeats in there. But with all the events coming up, I got to make sure that I've got some stock because I ran low over the winter. And now that it's April, I'm starting to come out of the winter funk, which is really nice and motivating. But the kimono fair, I'm working on some new obi bags. If you follow me on Instagram, I've been posting them to stories, as well as some other lifestyle products. So like pouches, which now I do market mostly to knitters, but they can be used for coins, makeup, anything really. And scrunchies, actually. are the new ones, which I'm super excited about. It's been kind of floating around in the back of my head for a year or two, but sometimes that takes a while. So most of these fabrics are from my trip to Japan in November. And I'll be going back actually in May with Carolina of Ancient Arts Yarn. We've been planning this trip for years, and then some things got in the way, but it's never going to get to be a better time than right now, even if it's not. It's actually really good because some of these bags that she's taken for fabrics, she's used up all the fabrics. So we can go back and restock some of the stuff I know is going to be super popular. I can pick up some of the new fabrics that have come out since November because it's been 6 months. I haven't been for basically summer fabrics in 5.5 years now. 5 years, 6 years, 6 years. So that'll be kind of cool. May is a really nice time to travel to Japan as well. It's like just bye, Mary. I hope you have a good day. Yeah, May is a really nice time to travel in Japan. It's not too hot, but it's nice. It's usually mid-20s. So if there's anything you want to see on the channel, make sure to drop it in the chat, and I will do my best to actually get it. We're going to be in Tokyo, Kyoto, and Osaka. And we're kind of doing off the rails. We're gonna kind of do like a greatest hits of the greatest hits tour of Kyoto. I was on exchange in between Osaka and Kyoto. Yeah. Sweet, on the bags, and then we'll do the ribbon cutting. Mm.